Greetings, Inquisitors. Welcome to the Holocron. This is the week 204 update for the Darth Loquitur account. I update this account's progress every week, go through all the character ships, mods, Datacrons, whatever we're doing for the accounts that y'all can follow along. Please remember, as we get started, hit that like button. It does help me, helps the channel, and I would appreciate if you could help me out. All right, let's take a look. Week 204. The plan was to relic Malgus. We've had him at gear 12 for a while now. It'd be nice to have him at gear 13. Maybe put him on a defensive team or in some way use him in offense. But anyway, get him to gear 13. I'll take him up to Relic 3. I got a bunch of stuff that I still need to finish to higher Relic levels, so we're not going to go too aggressive for right now. So Malgus, Relic 3. I also have enough to Relic Mara Jade. And, eventually we'll want to get Starkiller. The Mara Jade team sometimes with Emperor Palpatine is good enough to beat something in Grand Arena, but we kind of miss Mara Jade being relic there and can't use the team. So in this case, we'll relic her, free up, let's say, a better opportunity for us in Grand Arena. Emperor Shuttle, we got this thing to 5 stars finally. I've been farming that for a long time here and there, and we'll get it eventually. We'll go into Death Trooper. We've got some extra Kairos this week. We don't have a character that we're actively working on for another journey, so I go in here and I apply some Kairos. And we're a little bit short on this Cairo, but I'll go in here and take a look in a second, and we can buy some for friendship points. So it's not really efficient to do that, but it's not bad if you got a ton of friendship points and you don't need them for something else. All right, going into the rest of the characters, we've got Queen Amidala that needs to go to Relic 8. I already took Padawan Obi-Wan to Relic 8, and we also need to take the Master Qui-Gon to Relic 8. We don't have quite enough materials yet. Just a little bit short, so the next time we have a raid, I should have those materials farmed up and be able to compete with that team at full Relic 8. Try to get our 2.7 million, or at least get close with that. Working on mods here. Got a couple that get 10 speed. This one gets 14 speed, then quickly goes to 15. We'll take it to 6 dots at 21 speed. We'll take it all the way to gold without ever hitting that speed again. And we'll slice it, or calibrate it. Try to get something moved over to speed, and the calibrations don't work, and so we end up not being able to hit the 5th speed on that one. So looked good. Still a 21 speed mod, it's not bad. We follow it up with this 13 speed mod. We don't end up taking that to 6 dot yet. 13 speed is kind of below the threshold that I have. I'll take some 13 speed mods to 6 dots, but only if there's nothing better to work on currently. Here you see we get another 14 speed one, so we will take that to 6 dots. We slice it up a couple times. We don't get speed on it. I'll do 1 calibration on it, and we'll have to save up for more materials in the future. Working on the blue and green mods for the week. We only got, I think, 1 that was worth looking into here, and we're kind of out of slicing materials for it. So that's going to be a pretty short session for working on the blues and the greens. With the gold mods, we've got this one, 19 speed at 6 dots, and we pretty quickly run out of materials here, so we do a quick calibration on it for 15 just to see if we can get lucky and get speed, but we don't get it. So then I'll go in and I'll try to improve Malgus's mods just a little bit, upgrade him to 6 dot mods where I can. So we put a little bit better mods on him. 83,000 health isn't that fantastic, but you got to remember he's only Relic 3, so 83,000 health is okay. We do have a couple defense sets on him, which maybe the health mods are optimal on Malgus, but okay. It's at Relic 3, we're not looking for him to carry the game. We're just looking for him to be better than he was at gear 12. In Datacrons, we roll up some more Datacron stuff here. We get a Jedi mechanic at Relic at level 6 on this Datacron. We'll try again, and we get a couple different options for the Jedi stuff, so I take a look at this, trying to figure out whether we think it's better to have the Dispel mechanic, or whether when Jedi allies grant a buff, they gain turn meter. And I think at the end of the day, the turn meter is probably better. So we'll get a couple rolls to finish this out, and we roll defense and armor penetration. I like both of those stats, so the stats on the Datacron filled out quite nicely there at the end. Resistance penetration, not the stat we're looking for. So we just go to another Datacron here, start out with potency, get tenacity, and then for the level 3 skill, we get dark side mechanics, 25% chance to dispel debuffs on themselves. We'll go with another level up here, we'll get health steal, and then we're out of materials. So we're not currently on a Conquest week, this is just stuff that I grabbed up at the end of the last Conquest between my last update and this one. Get another dark side one here at level 3, and then that's it. That's all we've got for Datacrons for the week, and that's going to pretty much wrap up the progress that we can have for the account. Relic 3 on Malgus, Relic 3 on Mara Jade, got Queen Amidala to Relic 8, and early on next week we'll be able to get Master Qui-Gon up to Relic 8 as well. So pretty good there. We'll have that set up for the raid, and then I consider myself to be pretty much done for now with raid teams. We've got the Gungans at 2.7 million contribution. This Queen Amidala team should be close to 2.7, and then we've got the Jedi team that can get around a million too if I swap mods on it. So with those teams, I'll be able to meet my guild's expectations on total contribution for the raid. And we're in the valley now, so we passed the the 265 box, and it's a big jump to the next box, so we're in good shape. Week 204, total galactic power 10.08 million. We added 50,000 with those 2 relics. That takes us up to 187 relics, 161 zetas, 30 omicrons. Squad arena, we're still getting top 50 with JMK. Fleet arena, we're still able to get top 5 with a combination of Profundity and Chimera. GAC, Kyber 3, we dropped down a little bit because I didn't really get to play GAC last week, so it was unfortunate, but the rating dropped. And then my project is going to be Keller and Beck, and we'll work on that for week 206. Change in plans based on, what may or may not happen, so we'll talk about that here in a second. Next week, we're going to keep farming Night Trooper twice a week, keep working on that shuttle. In the fleet, we're just farming materials from fleet. There's no active character nodes or ships that we need over there right now. Cantina, we're farming signal data, mod energy. 3 days a week, we're farming mods. 4 days a week, we're farming slicing materials. The refresh strategy is still 3 on everything, 4 on energy to help boost that Cairo income. 2024 planning, Bo-Katan Mandalore is now ahead of Galactic Legend Ahsoka, so we're prioritizing that. In Tier 2, we're just working on gearing up any new characters that we have gear for. In Tier 3, the farming, we're farming shards for the Galactic Legend Ahsoka requirements. And, we could do things like the armor, Garsax, and Super Commando to Relic 3 if we have time in between where we need a relic. So with Galactic Legend Ahsoka, I think the big question I have is there going to be an event? With the last couple, they've had marquees, and after 3 or 4 marquees, they've run an event and helped get a lot of shards into people's pockets through an event. So there hasn't been an event, and I've kind of been waiting and thinking, well, there'll be an event that'll accelerate the timeline. I don't want to be left behind on Ahsoka. So I was putting gear on those characters. The week before, I put Kairos onto the Night Trooper and then the Death Trooper, the Peridia. And now I'm starting to think, I don't know. If they don't do an event, then I'm kind of stuck with a long timeline on Ahsoka and putting a bunch of gear on characters that aren't going to do me any good until I get Ahsoka. Because if you can't get them to gear 12, if I can't get them to 7 stars gear 12, then, you know, those Kairos that I put on them are just wasted. So if we don't get the event, it puts me on a pretty long timeline. I did a quick calculation, and farming them up would be 15 weeks for the only character right now that's farmable. And then you've got a gap after that for however long it's going to take for these other new characters to be farmable. So we're looking at like a 30-week timeline for Ahsoka if we just farm these things at single shard drops. Now we can shorten that up by farming them twice a day, but still that puts us on a 15-week timeline just to farm the shards for the characters, not to get the gear together to relic them. So as a person who's not purchasing shards out of the shop for these characters, the timeline, if they don't run an event, is pretty long. So I took a look at Bo-Katan Mandalore, and to fill in the timeline, I'm going to start planning to go ahead and do that journey in between. It still takes a lot of Kairos to build those characters, but I do have them all at 7 stars. We farmed them all up, so it's available there for us to grab. So I'll do Keller and Beckett first, and then for a couple weeks, depending on how things go, I might just sit on my materials and start building up an inventory. And then if there's no event, we'll just invest in the characters for the Bo-Katan Mandalore journey, and we'll go ahead and grab that. And that'll fill in the timeline that we're looking at, waiting for the farms to come up on Galactic Legend Ahsoka characters. There's a bunch of other stuff that I could do. I'm 1 relic away from Afra if I got Hondo reliced. I did the bots for Guild to place them in the ops for a territory battle. With Mara Jade being reliced now, we only need Talon and Kyle Katarn for Starkiller. And then Stap, we still need to farm him out of the Cantina. So Hondo would need to be farmed out of the Cantina, Talon and Kyle, and Stap. They're all 3 Cantina farms. Stap, of course, is still a single shard drop, so that's the longest farm out of the Cantina. But if there's a long enough gap that I don't need the signal data, and I get the characters that I need up to high enough relics, then we can go back and take a look at farming these characters out of the Cantina and finishing up other journeys as well. I'm going to start referring to Bo-Katan Mandalore as Bo-Cat-Man, Man-Bear-Pig, I don't know, something. I just need a more clever name for her than Bo-Katan Mandalore, or Darksaber Bo or something like that, I don't know. Bo-Cat-Man sounded fun, so that's what I put in my presentation for this week. Anyway, Afra and Starkiller seem to be a little less value. Bo-Katan can kill the Gungans, so that's kind of a sure thing for Grand Arena and for other game modes that we can get a benefit out of doing that journey. So I think we're going to focus on that and then reach back for Afra or Starkiller, if that makes sense later. So my old list for Relic Priority Order, Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, we finished that. We did Malgus, we got set for the Phoenix. We did Jar Jar Binks, the 2 Jedi for the team, and Mara Jade. And then we got down to Stap, and then a bunch of stuff with question marks, like you got to figure it out when we get there. So with just a couple things left on this list, I re-inventoried it, redid the list. So we'll do Keller and Beck first. And then we'll just hold on to materials, let them build up for a few weeks, like I said. And then assuming that we don't get an event, if the timeline stays the way it is and it's going to be long, then we'll finish out the rest of this stuff for Bo-Katan, build up the armor, and then go back to working on the Galactic Legend Ahsoka stuff. So that's the idea. A little bit of a change in plan from what I had before, sort of making an alteration that I think fits the timeline better. And Bo-Katan Mandalore should be a good character for the account, help us get through those Gungans when we see them. It would be nice to have a definite counter ready to go, where we don't have to try to figure that out every time we're in GAC. So that's going to wrap up the week 204 update for the Darth Loquitur account. Thank you all for hanging out. Appreciate each and every one of you. Please remember to hit that like button on the way out if you didn't hit it on the way in. Subscribe to the channel to see more of these kinds of things in the future, and the notification bell tells you when I'm doing my GAC live streams. Join us for that. It's a fun time. You can ask just about any questions you want. If it's a Swiggle question, I'll try to get you a serious answer. If it's funny question or something, I'll try to entertain the audience with it. So pop on in the live streams. Hope to entertain you over there. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next Holocron.